Can heart disease be reversed is the question I will be answering on today's episode of Ask Nutritionist Deepa. And to answer that question, I have no other than whole food plant-based cardiologist, Dr. Aajay Shah. So Dr. Aajay Shah, super excited to get you on the podcast, and let's get to the heart of the matter here.
Thank you again, Deepa, for having me on your show. I'll tell you one thing. Heart health is an important month. At the same time, like we have discussed for many, many years now, that despite of all our efforts, heart disease has remained number one. And even though with all the advanced care, chances of dying from heart attack has gone down, but the incidence of heart disease, particularly heart blockage, has remained same. And in some population, it has gotten worse, particularly in Indian population, 6 times more than the white people, 6 times more, not 60 times more, 60% more, but 6 times, 600 times more. So we need to work on that aspect, that how as Southeast Asian, how as Indian, we can prevent the heart disease. I think we have talked many times, Deepa, that many people feel that they have bad genetics, they are born with wrong genes, but that's not the truth. Most of the heart disease actually truly is because of the lifestyle families run. And I've seen again and again in my own personal family, in my friends' family, in my patients' family, that is the lifestyle of the families which actually play a role. And many times I joke with them that if it's a gene, why your dog is so fat? If that's the case, your dog should not be fat because you don't share the genes. So I agree with you. I think it's the food we eat, it's the exercise, it's the sleep, it's a whole holistic approach to prevent the heart disease.
Absolutely. And the statistic shows, or the research shows that, 30% is genetic. 10% is access to healthcare, and 20%, I believe, is your socio-economic status, and another 20% is your personal behavior, basically, right? So 30% is genetic. So there's only so much we can blame on it and have that discussion and give up on it while eating your samosas or donuts or what have you. So the first thing, I think, the take-home message is that let not genes be an excuse. This is it. Because I'm sure you have seen it, I see it. Every few days there is a panic call. Oh, my brother is just 55 years old, had a cardiac arrest. Somebody is having MI. Oh, now they get into the panic mode. Right, when you see the family going through or having heart attack and all that, and 30, 40, 50 is not an age to drop dead or have heart disease, really, considering we have access to heart healthy food, and we will get to what that heart healthy food is. There's no magic pill here. It's available in the regular aisles of grocery stores. So we'll get to the food part of it. But let me ask you something, that before a final incident happens, it can be MI, it can be cardiac arrest, what have you. There is blood pressure, there is cholesterol, right? And there is inflammation. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because like you said, many times before the heart attack or cardiac arrest happens, the disease process actually starts as early as 1-year-old, 5-year-old, 10-year-old. There was a autopsies done in Korean soldiers, and they were 15, 18, 20 years old. And many of them already had cholesterol deposit in their blood vessels. So the message is that disease starts at a very young age. It may not manifest as a heart attack or cardiac arrest until 30s, 40s, and 50s, but the disease starts at a very young age. And the disease starts is because of we call certain risk factors. And those risk factors are very well known to us. We are still working on finding out more about it, what other risk factors are involved, but the common risk factors are already known to us. The number one common risk factor, like you said, is high blood pressure. 50% of Americans have high blood pressure. High blood pressure has become almost normal to have everybody after age 50, after age 65. But that's not the truth. If you look at some of the people in some of the African countries where they don't eat any salt, they eat all whole food, plant-based, lots of vegetables, lots of potassium. They don't develop high blood pressure as they get older. And I'm a prime example. I used to be on 2 blood pressure medicine, and my blood pressure used to run 130. Now, with all the lifestyle changes, my blood pressure is in 90s without any medication. So don't assume that the blood pressure is must as you get older, and don't assume that you cannot reverse the blood pressure and can get off the blood pressure medicine. The second risk factor is the cholesterol. And again, cholesterol sometimes run in the family, and there are genetic reasons for having high cholesterol, but they're relatively uncommon, as low as 1 in 250 to 1 in 500. So most people with high cholesterol is because of the food they eat and because of lack of exercise. So cholesterol can be lower. And high cholesterol is one of the common reasons for Indians who have heart disease. And cholesterol should be ideally below 150 if you can with your lifestyle changes, particularly with healthy eating. The other important factor which many Indians don't realize is the stress. A lot of immigrants, particularly Indians, they are busy with their career, they're busy educating their kids, they're running around taking their kids all over the classes and other things, they're sleeping poorly, and they have a lot of stress in life. They have type A personality. And stress plays as important of a role as nutrition when it comes down to heart disease. Sleep is another factor. A lot of Indians are sleeping 5, 6, 7 hours. Ideally, we should be sleeping 7 to 8 hours. So again, there are a lot of risk factors. Smoking is another risk factor, but fortunately, in India, smoking incidence is relatively low as 5 to 7%. So smoking is not a major concern amongst Indians. But at the same time, I think it's important that everyone, all Indians, are aware of what risk factors will eventually lead to the heart attack, cardiac arrest, strokes, and many other vascular disease. So I think if you start working on the risk factors as young as age 10, that means your parents will need to take the responsibility of showing the good habits to the kids. You will actually become heart attack proof, you will become stroke proof, you will become cardiac arrest proof. So my message to all our viewers is start as early as possible, but it's never too late.
That is perfect, because uh, going back to the Indian diet and Indian population, it's very interesting, right? You see, what I see is, if you want to know where the disease is coming from, go to the grocery store, okay, and see where you see the most crowded aisles, right? If you go to ethnic Indian stores, I see not as much crowd. I mean, compared to the processed food crowd and people standing in the line to buy the ready-made food or whatever. Or if you look at their shopping carts. I think at heart I'm an anthropologist, because I like to observe people's behavior. Why they are doing what they are doing, how they are doing it, and I look at these massive carts filled with maybe 25% of vegetables. I'm not saying Indians don't eat vegetables. They are blessed with the culinary knowledge, which is what they should need to leverage. But the amount of processed food that has gone into their shopping cart is a huge problem. And then on top of that, we have these notion about, oh, ghee is good for my heart, and Ayurveda promotes ghee, and without ghee brain will stop, and all that stuff. And maybe ghee had its own place in the diet if we were constantly walking and doing manual labor. I don't know, but I don't think every curry, every chutney, every paratha, every rice, every snack has significant amount of processed oil. So, and that like you are seeing, that's why 6% more, 600% more among Indian population is not a statistic to be proud about, really.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think, what happens, Deepa, that a lot of these young Indians, young Indian male particularly, they come to America, they're very well educated, they work very hard, they make good money, they live in big house, they have nice cars, the kids get a good education, but at the same time, unfortunately, by 40s and 50s, they develop heart disease. Some of them unfortunately die. Some of them become cardiac crippled. Some of them actually become disabled. And that's absolutely 100% preventable. And to be honest with you, with a person's help like from you or from help like me, they can easily do this thing with simple time efforts, simple resources, just matter of creating priorities in their life, creating a new mindset, creating a confidence that they can prevent heart disease. And people who already have heart disease are creating a confidence that they can actually reverse the heart disease and live very long, healthfully, and really with a vibrant energy. And they can go on until 80s and 90s and even 100s.
Correct. Absolutely. So, what do you say to people who say, hey, I was diagnosed with high cholesterol, and my doctor asked me to just start eating egg whites. I should stop eating egg yolk. And now I'm eating 6-egg omelette or whatever, 2-egg omelette or boiled egg. I eat only white and I eat fish. What do we say to them?
See, that's a great question again. And I think doctors in America get only 4 to 6 hours of nutrition education. So many times, doctors are also not well informed when it comes down to a healthy education. And that's a reason many times I personally believe that patients should become their own knowledge seeker. And there is fortunately a lot of knowledge available on YouTube, on Google, a lot of books now, a lot of textbooks, a lot of support from nutritionists like you, a lot of dietitians. So I think patients become their own knowledge seeker. And when it comes down to egg white, even though egg white has minimal cholesterol, minimum fat, it still carries some cholesterol because it's an animal product. It also has an animal protein, which has shown now to significantly increase IGF-1. And IGF-1 has been shown now to promote heart blockage and heart disease. Same thing applies to fish. Actually, fish also has a lot of mercury issue. Fish has also some saturated fat. Even though fish has a lot of poly and monosaturated fat, and fish probably is better than red meat, or fish probably is better than white meat, but ideally, fish is also not good for you. If you are worried about getting enough omega-3, you can have flax seeds, you can have walnuts, or you can have algae-based omega-3 supplement if you truly are into it. A lot of people actually have stopped taking omega-3 supplements because they get enough flax seeds and enough walnuts. But I personally believe that if you're worried about omega-3, instead of eating the fish, go to the real source, which is the algae-based omega-3 supplements. And if you are really still worried about it, get a blood test done where you can get actually your omega-3 index measure to see how much omega-3 you have in your blood. So again, be knowledge seeker. Don't listen to your doctors who have minimum knowledge about nutrition, and look at the doctor himself or herself, how he or she is healthy. Look at what she or he look like instead of just blindly following what your doctors say to you. And let me tell you, egg white and fish oil are absolutely not good for you, not necessary, and actually it can harm you.
Absolutely. No, that is a very important message, because there is such a huge perception about, how paleo diet has worked for millions of people. But, I know, and it's a well-known truth now that keto and paleo, the long-term not only compliance, but the outcome is very poor. The only diet that we can confidently say that helps with uh, all chronic diseases, really, heart disease, diabetes, because the heart disease, if someone has heart disease, chances are diabetes or pre-diabetes is just around the corner. So hypertension, they are all in the one family, just getting opening door to one person, and before you know, the whole family is going to sneak into your body. So I was just saying that whole food plant-based diet, no oil. Let's talk a little bit about that. So if somebody wants to transition into that, and just again, it's all about mental, changing the attitude. With whole food plant-based, people are still okay, but when you throw in the word no oil as a starting point, that's a shocker for specifically for Indians, because we are a tadka and taste and everything driven cuisine.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I think to use oil in Indian cooking is a myth. It's not required. It obviously oil adds taste to the food. Oil adds actually almost like an addiction potential to the food, because our mind, our body, over the last thousands of millions of years is designed to favor caloric dense food. So whatever food has high calorie, our body and our mind is designed to crave for it and have addiction for it. So I agree, oil has its own appeal. But at the same time, when we used to eat oil and ghee 500, 200, 100 years ago, we were actually physically 10 times more active. In today's age, we need to start changing our habits based on what we do today. And that's the reason I tell people that oil and ghee were good for you 100 years ago, because you needed that calorie dense food. So our ancestors were doing the right thing. So don't be saying that our ancestors were wrong. They were right. But today, if we eat like they did, we are wrong, because we don't move at all. Most Americans, most Indians in America get about 3,000 to 4,000 steps a day. That's less than 2 miles a day. And that's not enough to burn the calories. So again, oil is a very calorie dense food. Cooking with oil is almost like a habit. It's not something required. At our house, we have eliminated oil for last 4 years, and we don't even miss it. I don't have to ever think that the food my wife makes many times has any oil in it, because we just don't have oil. The tadka is not required to have oil. You can do it with water. You can do it with vegetable broth. And to be honest with you, your taste buds will start to adjust in less than 3 weeks, and you will not miss oil. Oil is no if you want to prevent heart disease and stroke. Oil needs to go. And again, whole food plant-based, when you start crowding out your plate with lots of raw vegetables, lots of water steam cooked vegetables, lots of fruits, lots of intact grains, lots of water cooked beans, you automatically will start eliminating some of the unhealthy food, some of the processed food, some of the ready-made food, some of the Indian snacks. So I always tell my patients that start crowding out your plate with whole food, plant-based, no oil items, and your mind and your body will start to adjust to start crowding out unhealthy food, because it's very difficult to eliminate any habit in life. It's easier to add than delete. It's easier to add. Our mind is more into addition than deletion. So add helpful stuff, and your body automatically, without your knowledge, will delete the unhealthy stuff. But again, to finalize my message of this whole 1 hour talk for all the Indians who are listening, No oil, please. No oil, please.
And that includes, let's make it clear, it includes olive oil, which is looked upon as cure for all. Coconut oil, it includes your sunflower oil, it includes your grapeseed oil, it includes your ghee, and it includes any other oil that exists out there and comes in a liquid form in a bottle. It's all that. Okay, so I think we should close the debate about should we need oil, is one oil better than the other. We should just consider that case as closed, because it just goes on and on and on. And I said, you know what, guys, let's not waste the consult talking about oil. Let's focus on everything else that you guys eat and we need to accomplish during our class or presentation or whatever, because at the end of the day, we are dealing with inflammation, and anything that causes inflammation. You touched upon stress, egg whites, fish, oil, sugar, artificial color, artificial flavors, processed food. All fall into the bucket of inflammatory foods, and that's why everybody out there, Dr. Shah and I, we are requesting you, we are encouraging you to go on a whole food plant-based, no oil, no processed food diet to control to reverse your heart disease really, and to prevent. So Dr. Shah, let's talk about simple foods that you and I eat every day. I'm quite sure there is overlap. So let's go over a list, because people another excuse people have: healthy food is expensive, it's hard to find, it's not tasty, blah blah blah. So if you have to choose a healthy food for breakfast, what would it be?
So I think a key thing to remember is that it has to be a whole food. And at the same time, I must say that the ratio of certain ingredients in our diet has to be very balanced. As Indian, we eat a lot more grain than typically we should be eating. I think we should have large portion of our diet more into greens, green vegetables, cruciferous vegetables. So number one message is cut down on the grain. Having said that, if you like grains, have intact grain. So for example, my breakfast many times is oat groats. Either they are just sweet oat groats with berries and soy milk, or they are sometimes spicy oat groat, where you can make it just like a pawa. Like some people make bataka pawa, same way you can make spicy oat groat. And to give you an example, I had bataka pawa a few years ago, and I was measuring my glucose with a continuous glucose monitor, and my sugar spiked to 200 after that processed pawa. And I realized that processed pawa would be considered many times healthy by some people, but actually it's not. It spikes your sugar. And like you said, sugar is a big issue in terms of inflammation. So inflammation being the root cause of all heart disease and cancer and Alzheimer's disease, we need to cut down the food which causes the inflammation. So my breakfast typically is oat groat, or sometimes just fruits. Sometimes we will make just a green smoothie with very small amount of fruits. And with smoothies are okay as long as you drink them very slowly. A lot of people have a habit of drinking smoothie in 5 to 10 minutes, and that will spike your sugar. So if you like smoothies, smoothies are good. Smoothies are very palatable, easy to make, they're very healthy. But if you make a large glass of smoothie, take your time in drinking them. Drink it over 1 to 2 hours. And sometimes you can even make a habit of drinking smoothie with a spoon. That will slow down how quickly you can actually drink smoothie. So my breakfast typically would be intact grains with a lot of fruits. And I typically add some nuts and seeds with my each meal, because we know now that to improve the absorption of micronutrients, we need some fat along with those micronutrients. So I always have small amount of nuts and seeds with each meal. And like many people say that we need fat for our brain health, our diet. I agree, we need fat. We need all three macronutrients, but fat can be in the form of whole food. Those whole food for the fat are nuts and seeds and avocados. So
But
how
again, Dr. Shah, not a whole lot, because you know how much people, they sit
right,
with a bag of
maximum 2 ounces of nuts, maximum 2 ounces,
maximum.
1 to 2 ounces of nuts and 1 to 2 tablespoons of seeds. I agree with you.
Correct.
People, when they go on nuts, before they know, they will have 800 calories from nuts.
Correct.
And I'm equally guilty for it because once you start eating nuts, you cannot stop. I've seen
Correct.
many people picking up a roasted nut bag from a gas station while they are driving long distance, and before they know, they will have 1,000 calories of roasted nuts. I agree with you. Nuts should not be more than 1 to 2 ounces per day.
Absolutely. So what I have been doing for a while is I also eat my steel cut oats, but I make it like a mixed grain porridge. So it has millet, it has some buckwheat, steel cut oats or oats, and either I make it savory like khichdi, just bunch of vegetables and little bit of sesame seeds, and I pressure cook it or I cook it in the oven with masalas, or I eat it like you do, with soy milk. I just started making my own soy milk. I don't know how long that party will last, but I'm quite enjoying the process. So we can, yeah, so there are these simple things. And for heart health, would you agree that foods like flax seeds, oats, beans and lentils, and brown rice is the food medicine? And these things are not going to break anyone's wallet. If somebody is on very limited budget, you can find it at any grocery store, and you don't need to be a whole food goer. So please tell our people that
I
this is
think,
doable.
I agree with you. I think if you look at the cost of the food, there is a cost you pay today, and there's a cost you pay after 5 years, 10 years. When you eat that $1 burger at McDonald's, you will pay $10 in the cost 10 years down the road when you develop the heart disease or stroke. And I'm very conservative when I say $10. It could be $20 if you end up having an open heart bypass surgery. So again, when you put $1 into healthy food, it's an investment. And I always tell my patients that the return on investment in the healthy food is more return than any other stock market can give you. So invest into healthy food. When it comes down to buying healthy green vegetables, fruits, and then cooking them yourself, to be honest with you, it's not that expensive. If you go to farmers market, if you go to and I don't recommend necessarily to buy all organic food if you are on the budget. Just eating green vegetables, even if they are not organic, having lots of fruits is okay. If you can afford it, buy as much organic as you can, but it's not 100% necessary. And like I said, it's the money you put into healthy food right now is going to show up 5 years, 10 years down the road. Plus all the misery you're going to get from the disease, plus all the disability and all the premature death you're going to get. So again, invest into healthy food right now. I also say that having one large salad every day is required. One large salad will crowd out some of the unhealthy food. And definitely it will provide a lot of fiber, like you said, a lot of omega-3, a lot of micronutrients, a lot of phytochemicals. So one large salad is must. Having beans, legumes, and lentils with each meal is must. Many times, particularly after age 60, 65, we actually have to worry about adequate protein. A lot of Indians, when I see them, they have lost a lot of muscle mass. They have big belly, but their arms, their chest, their thighs are very small. And that's how they start becoming sarcopenic, and they start developing insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes. So make sure you have adequate plant-based protein, and you can easily do that just by 1 cup, just one simple cup of beans, legumes, or lentils with each meal. Key thing is whole food, plant-based, no oil.
Absolutely. Since you added the interesting layer of investment, I want to end this conversation with return on investment. So when somebody starts eating whole food, plant-based, no oil cooking, at least in my practice, I have seen in as little as 4 to 6 weeks, I have seen drop in cholesterol. The first drop is in blood pressure that can happen within 48 hours. Am I just an outlier? What have you seen?
No, I think people have no idea the power of lifestyle changes. Food is the most important lifestyle change they can make. And I agree, as they start eating whole food, plant-based, no oil, their blood pressure will drop in 48 hours. Your observation is 100% correct. The cholesterol will drop in 4 to 6 weeks. The fatty liver will start clearing out. The diabetes will be reversed. They will be able to go off insulin in as early as 1 month. Their weight will start coming down. The inflammation will start coming down. Their arthritis will improve. Their sleep will improve. I think that they will be essentially a new person in 2 to 3 months. People will start not only complimenting you, they will start asking you how you did it. And they will start asking you to teach them how to do it, to be a leader. Not just do it for yourself, but do it for your family, do it for your loved ones, do it for your friends, and be a teacher, be a leader in this lifestyle movement.
Absolutely. No, I think we just gave a very important message about how to prevent and reverse heart disease. And I hope listeners are going to go home and do some introspection and look at their kitchen, pantry, their plate, and be mindful about what they should be eating. So Dr. Shah, thank you so much again for coming on my show. And as we have discussed, we will have this we will have you on the show, maybe answer audience's question and answer. We'll start doing this because I think practitioners like you and me, we need to spread the knowledge, and one person can influence a generation, they say, and that's the mission we have taken upon ourselves. So let's collaborate and let's keep going.
We'll do that. My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.